Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. Please connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Jedley Magic on Twitter, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram. Our guest today is Sara Devine. She's here to talk about Jared's Last Carrot. Before we invite Sara in, we want to invite you to check out our friends at Books.com. VOOKS, Books.com. We love Books.com. Books combines the love, trust, and safety of children's books with the convenience of online streaming, creating a whole new way to experience stories with a growing library of animated storybooks that both kids and parents will love. By adding movement, sound, and narration to existing books, Books brings stories to life, encouraging the love of reading while promoting literacy, imagination, and focus for children 2 to 8 years old. With Books, children can learn, laugh, and let their imagination soar, while parents can feel good about letting their little ones enjoy quality, guilt-free screen time. Right now, Books is offering a free 1-year subscription to every single teacher and homeschooling parent. What a deal! We also have free resources to go along with some of our most loved titles. My wife is a teacher, and she signed up for the Books free subscription, and she loves it. Check it out today. Go to Books.com. That's VOOKS.com, Books.com. We also want to let you know that this episode of the show is brought to you by the last surviving dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus, written by Stephen Joseph and playfully illustrated by Andy Case. Now, you've heard me talk about the last surviving dinosaur a lot here on the show. They've been a great sponsor of the show. I want to share something with you that happened just recently at Kids Expo. Earlier this week, you heard me interview a young woman, probably, I think she's 11 or 12 years old, Melanie. And she was there with her family, and when I asked her if she loved to read, she said no. Emphatically, she said, no, I don't like to read. Well, we dug a little bit deeper and found that she doesn't like reading books that are assigned to her. And, because of that, she really lost her love of reading. She told me she used to love to read. She kind of, she said grew out of it. I think it was kind of pounded out of her by all the books that she was assigned. I talked to her about finding books that she would love, finding books that she would choose to read. And I asked her what she liked to read, and she said she liked to read funny books. And so I just happen to have a copy of The Last Surviving Dinosaur sitting right next to me. And I said, look, Melanie, I think you can have a lot of fun with this. Try to pronounce this word. And I pointed to Tyrannosaurus. And she said, and she started laughing. And I said, come on, read this book. And she had a blast. There's so many great words, a lot of great Yiddish and Jewish words in the book. And the story is wonderful. So this kid who told me that she doesn't like to read at all picked up The Last Surviving Dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus, and she really loved it. Now, I'm not saying that, Melanie then went home and turned off TikTok and is just reading books and no longer playing with all the apps on her phone. I don't think that's reasonable. But I do know that this kid who said that she doesn't like to read, not that she doesn't read, she doesn't like to read, picked up The Last Surviving Dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus by Stephen Joseph, and she really had a great time. And we think that your family will have a fantastic time reading The Last Surviving Dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus. It really is a fun book. There's lots of playful words in it. And there's a great lesson. The Last Surviving Dinosaur reminds readers to be mindful of when and how often they complain. And that's a great lesson for all readers, young and old alike. Now, The Last Surviving Dinosaur, it's available online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other sites where books are sold. Check it out today. The Last Surviving Dinosaur by our friend Stephen Joseph. Joining us on the line right now from Teaneck in New Jersey. She is a debut author of a beautiful picture book called Jared's Last Carrot. Please welcome to the show, Sara Devine. Sara, how are you?
I'm so fine. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Jed.
Yes. We're really excited. Tell us all about Jared's Last Carrot, please.
Well, it is a cute picture book, like you were saying before. The idea came to me during Storytime with my little girls. I was just reading before bedtime. But we came up with our own ideas for other stories, which is something that we would do whenever they would want a second story. That would happen a lot. One story wasn't enough. So after reading one story, we would just create a story. So Jared was one of those that we just started to think about based on some tantrums that were had recently in the house. And so anyway, we just rolled with this idea of a little bunny who just didn't like what was available to him or what he had or what he assumed he had. He didn't realize really in the end. And that's what the story kind of talks about, that he didn't actually understand that what he had was gold. He had a carrot, and it wasn't the kind of carrot he wanted. He wanted to make carrot pancakes one Saturday morning, which was our tradition. And making pancakes on Saturday morning. And so he's looking and he could not find one carrot. And even in his garden, he couldn't find a carrot. It had turned out that he just wasn't a good steward of his garden. His garden had just gone, just completely untaken care of. And so he was upset. He had a total tantrum and a meltdown about it until finally he had an idea to ask his neighbors. And one neighbor was friendly, even though he hadn't been very friendly to his neighbors. So it's a lesson about, sharing, and it's about, cherishing your friends and trying to understand that they're also a treasure too. They're gold too. And so this one particular friend helped him by explaining to him that the carrot that he did have, because he did find one carrot and it was strange, it was golden. And didn't make him any happier because he couldn't cut it. He couldn't put it in a pot and cook it. So, but the friend came along and helped him to see what it was. And eventually he found his way to a market and got seed and planted some real carrots to take better care of them later on, and to share with his neighbors. But, anyway, yeah, it's about sharing and it's about treasuring what you have.
And, you mentioned something there, and what a wonderful lesson for kids to learn, that sometimes we can't see what's right in front of our eyes, and we need to have a friend help us see that.
Yep. That's exactly.
Yeah, that's such an important lesson. And, it's something that, I certainly didn't learn it when I was a kid.
Neither did I. Neither did I, actually. I wanted to tell you because, I think it was a few days ago, I just wrote something out, and it was just, my idea for Jared and what I hope he'll show children and adults, big kids, whoever wants to read it. And that's one of the things. The funny thing about this book is that when we had the idea, I put it away because I was always having ideas and putting them away and not doing anything with most of my ideas. I sing and I have CDs that, and that I've never done anything with. I normally would start a project and just not finish it and just leave it on the shelf to die, unfortunately. And so about a year and a half later after that idea, I ran into a friend at home in Arkansas during Christmas time, and she's a teacher. She's actually a principal, or I think she was a principal at that time. Mm-hmm. And she came to me and she knew that I liked to write, and she was just like, Sarah, when are you going to write me a children's book so I can share with my students? Like, what are you doing? Wasting time, you know? and it's so funny because she had no idea that I had a book idea or two that I never did anything with. So that's exactly what she did. I had to go back to Jarrett, and I looked through and I was like, I'm going to finish this story. And I'm also going to that's when Buddy came, the friend, his name is Buddy, mm-hmm. very creatively. But that's when the idea for him and his role came along, because she was my real person in mm-hmm. real life who called out seeds of, promise and greatness.
Yeah.
She was the one. And it took, what was I, 40? I don't know. So it took a long time I'm hoping that some children will get it sooner, hopefully, but for me, it took a long time.
I have a feeling that when my producer Fatima is listening to this to create her blog around, when you start talking about, you have all these projects and you start them and you don't follow through with mm-hmm. them, I know she's going to be laughing, because I can't tell you how many times that I've sent her an email or whatever and saying, hey, I want to do this and let's start and get going. And she, sends back whatever it was that I asked her for. And then it just gets left in the inbox because I've moved on to the next great idea.
Oh my goodness. I'm not the only one.
Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely not. And I am hoping that, with whatever time I have left in this earth, that I get better at it. I think I'm a little bit better at it, but
mm-hmm. I think I am too. There's hope for us, Jet. There's hope.
Well, this is a great story and some great lessons, not only about, learning that sometimes, our friends are the ones who help us see what's right in front of our eyes, but also it sounds like a great story just to, as you said, help remind kids to be grateful for what they have.
Yeah.
And that's so incredibly important. Why do you think that's such a hard thing for kids and for some adults to kind of wrap their heads around?
Oh my goodness. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. With my own kids, I try to teach them gratitude and being thankful is a lesson, that I've always been taught it. I grew up, my dad was a pastor. So, my faith is very important to me. So it's a part of being thankful and being gratitude. That's what we're supposed to be all the time, mm-hmm. and to find the good in every situation, which is definitely a challenge. It's not always easy. But with my kids, what's funny is that recently they've just been looking at a whole bunch of home decorating shows, mm-hmm. and they want to change their rooms around. Like, their rooms haven't been the way that they are for so long. Nothing wrong with their rooms, mm-hmm. but they've decided that they want this and that. They want this kind of chair. They want new paint. They want all of this right now. And I'm like, okay, I don't mind you having some updates, but your room is always a mess. I don't feel, any incentive to just like go and do all that when you haven't learned yet how to, go ahead and do your chores without me over and over. Hey, Ella, did you clean up your room? Okay. Olivia, make sure you clean up your, mm-hmm. So it's like, appreciate what's in your garden. Mm-hmm. And then, and same for me too, is sometimes there's certain things I want and I'm like, okay, no, let me straighten up this. Let me make sure this is fine. Let me, work on, make sure all the books are taking the finances, just work on things that I do have. Mm-hmm. And, before I just obsess about what I want next.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important, and there's so much science, and that's the thing, when your dad, the pastor, was teaching these things, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, those are good words, and yes, they're old lessons, but now we're living in a time where there's actually science that backs it up, and they've done experiments, and they show if you live gratefully, you tend to be healthier. The less chance of you being depressed. That you can endure pain longer. You're more creative. There's so it's no longer we believe this. So this is a lesson that's been passed down for forever. It's like it's real.
Right. We can prove this.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. What, I love that Jared's Last Carrot came from, Storytime.
Yeah.
And I love that tradition of reading, I love obviously reading with your kids podcast. I love the fact that you were sitting down reading with your kids every night. But I also love the fact that when it's time to read a second book, or we're not quite ready to go to bed, the option was, well, let's start thinking about a story ourselves.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I like it because it's a great way to bond. It's also, a great way to get kids thinking imaginatively. But I also think it's a great way to empower kids. It's you, the person that is most important in their lives, you're asking them what their opinion is, and you're valuing their opinion. And that is so important, letting our kids know that what they think, what they feel, what they believe is important to you.
Yeah. I didn't think of it that way. It just happened naturally because at the time, certain books are certain length. And when it's bedtime and they should go to bed, then you're like, okay, let's create a story that we can cut off as soon as we want to. But having done that, I told them and I gave them credit and thanked them and everything, let everybody know all the time that this was created with them. Like they helped me by saying, no, he shouldn't do that, or what, that doesn't make sense. They helped me. Yep. So we did this together. Yeah, that's wonderful. I remember when my kids were young and we did that, there was this one night and I get into there's sometimes when I'm on stage where I'll just start riffing. I get this, I am a divine inspiration and I'll just go off and it's whatever I'm doing on stage I've never done before. And then I'll never remember it, so it won't happen again. And we were doing the Storytime thing with my kids, and, so I just got this idea, and I started riffing, and the kids were adding things and whatnot, and then the next night they're like, tell that story again, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And like, it was such a good story. We have to do it. And I was I'm like racking my brains. What was it? Tell me what was it? But it never came back. No. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Remember that story you told? I'm like, no. And they'll have to remind you. And if they don't, then, oh, well, it's gone.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
One of the things that I was really happy about is that that Jared's Last Carrot is not just about you getting out there and selling a bazillion books to become a rich and famous author. You're also using the book to help kids and help end childhood hunger. Talk a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, I thought from the beginning, because the book is about food, and we love food, and one of my favorite charities is giving to children who are hungry in New York City. There are a couple, but there's one in particular. I think it's food. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I have it on my website, and we were still trying to get that actually going. I just basically give to them regularly on my own, but I was trying to get the website to reflect it too. So I'm still working on trying to make sure that I have it properly connected to that charity. But for any charity that you like, I mean, like I said, particularly I love giving to children who are hungry because I have children and I like feeding them, and I think it's great for everybody to have food. And so Jared had to learn about sharing through food. That was one of his things. His friend Buddy happened to have a whole bunch of carrot pancakes just as he was realizing that his dream of having carrot pancakes was not going to happen because none of the neighbors were answering him. And when they did, the answer was no, we don't have any carrots for you to borrow. It's the end of the season and we don't have anything that we can spare. And why, honestly, would they give it to him anyway when he had been not so giving and maybe a little nasty to them? He was not the nicest bunny always. But anyway, so that was important to me, just to try to continue the giving that I had already started. And because I thought it was an important thing. And so Jared's only been out for a little bit, and that's the idea. I haven't seen any money, and it's like you said, it's not because of that at all anyway. It's just a good story, and I really just wanted to finish what I had started. It was very important for me to just finally this year, oh my goodness, to not just do stuff and not finish it. So anyway, now that it's finished, and I'm still working on fine tuning all the things again, getting everything just like I want on my website and on my on the promotional end. So it's kind of like with the girls in their bedroom. I can't really ask for a lot of things until I finish checking all the items off of this list, this to-do list, and get it done just right. But yeah, that's one of the things that's very important to me, because of what it's about, because of what the story is about. It's about Jared wanting to eat, not being able to,
Tell me, what's the reaction been to your girls that, Jared exists and is a book and they can hold the book in their hands?
They love it. They were very excited about it, and they started thinking of other things. Oh, Jared, when he gets older, he should have a girlfriend. They're going on. I'm like, slow down, let's just do this and we'll see where this takes us. And, yes, we have stories in our heads, but we have just done this, just finished it. So, let's let him live this way for a minute as a young, bunny, like a young adult kind of bunny, and just have his life right now. So they were excited.
Now, what about your friend who inspired you to finally get this done? Has she had a chance to read Jared's Last Carrot to her students?
I think she has. She lives in Virginia. She did live in Virginia at that time. She's now moved to Florida. So she recently wrote me. She's like, I didn't know you finished it. I told her that, you are the reason why I'm finishing my book. But I guess she didn't see like all the posts and, it's done and here it is. And I told her about it. I sent her a gift because I was just so excited. I wanted her to just know that, this is she's a part of this. Yeah. And, I think she has the book, and I don't know if she read it to her students yet, because then she was at a different school. Now she's at a different place now. I think she does still work with young students who would probably appreciate the book because before she was with different ages. Yeah. So I hope that she has. I'm going to follow up and just ask her, did you ever read it to your students? What do they think? But no, I don't know for sure.
Well, at least her response wasn't, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, she knows.
Well, tell everybody where they can connect with you and learn more about Jared's Last Carrot.
So you can find me, I have a website. It's SaraDevineAuthor.com. It's Devine, and it's Sara. A lot of people may get that wrong. But also I'm on Instagram, and it's just Jared's Last Carrot. There's no apostrophe, just Jared's Last Carrot. And I try to put a lot of fun things about what I'm doing concerning the book, and, cute things and great ideas about food and, carrot food and different things. So I have a lot of fun with Instagram, and, So you can find me there for sure.
Awesome. And is there anywhere we can find a recipe for carrot pancakes?
You can.
Oh, no.
I have it. Well, I actually have it in the book,
Awesome.
but I believe that I have at least put a couple of carrot recipes, and if I don't have a carrot pancake recipe, boy, I better get on that. But I have other recipes there, mashed and roasted and all types of things with carrots.
Awesome.
So I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. Well, we've had a great time speaking about Jared's Last Carrot, the debut picture book from our guest, Sara Devine. Sara, thanks so very much for being here.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Mindy Willens. She is the author of A Hero Named Nikki. That's the next edition of the podcast. Hey, if you are the author of a fantastic children's book, we would love to have you as a guest here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Being a guest, it's fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of people about your fantastic children's book. All you need to do is go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on the contact button, let us know about your fantastic book. We will let you know the next easy steps. We want to thank the folks who made today's show so very, very wonderful. We want to thank our guest, Sara Devine. Be sure to check out Jared's Last Carrot. We also want to thank our friends at Books, Books.com, Vooks.com. If you're a teacher or a homeschooling parent, you want to check out their free 1-year subscription. There's also some offers for parents. Check it out today, Books.com. Want to thank our friend Stephen Joseph, the author of The Last Surviving Dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus. It's a fantastic book. We absolutely love it. I want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan, for all that she does for the podcast. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very, very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.